in corporate laws. His expertise in audit, inspections, and command over setting up of business entities and their regular compliances. He is a regular speaker at program organized by ICSI and other private coaching centers. Now, without any further delay, I would like to welcome Sir. Sir, please start today's session on Legal Skills 4. It's
Thank you,
over to
ma'am.
you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are in fine and good health. So, yeah, online EDP. Fine. Okay. So, today's topic that has been allotted to me is introduction to the various regulators related to CS profession. Okay, let me tell you, I have closed my video to get more clarity on the video audio since my bandwidth is low and people are working on the same. So, I'll be keeping off video for some time.
Anju ma'am,
However,
you can switch off your video, please.
yeah, okay. I'll be taking up your queries side by side since I have inserted almost all the regulators that we the professionals are to be dealt with. And I'll be taking up all your queries side by side. I'll be having the chat screen on. So we are not able to see you. Yeah, right. You are not able to see me because I have put off my video for better audio clarity. You all can put your queries in Q&A section and in chat box even. I'll having the regular view on the same. I presume that we are 500 approx participants and all we know. Okay, I'm getting questions and what is the role of CSR professional in corporates? Okay, I'll get on that at not in the beginning, but we'll keep that as a question parked in the last. So the topic is introduction to various regulators. Regulators. The very first regulators, the mother body, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. We all must be knowing what is MCA. Very common word, MCA. Okay, I'll presume that we all are aware of all the regulators vis-a-vis MCA, RC, RD,
अच्छा 9
OL. Anju ma'am, yeah, thank you. ROC, RD, IBC, IBBI, NCLT, NCLT, NFRA, all these abbreviations I presume you must have heard before. I also presume a few of you, not all, but few of you must be having the complete knowledge and the basic knowledge which will I'll be sharing with you, not visible, sir. Okay. Yes, sir, we are aware of. Definitely. Okay. What is MCA? It's a central government union ministry. What is the responsibility? Responsible mainly for regulation of corporate sector in India. I know this is something very basic, but this is what I have been allotted.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can you
Yes,
please
yes.
switch on your camera? Because I think the students will not be able to connect. So if it is possible for you to switch on your camera, please.
I'll be able to, but there is low bandwidth at my end.
Okay.
But so when I will be putting on my camera, the connectivity will hamper.
Okay. So okay. So sir, you please
People are working on the same, and it will be like ready in next 30 minutes.
okay. ठीक है, sir. After 30 minutes, then you switch on your camera.
Definitely. As and when the connectivity gets better, I'll definitely put on my video.
Sure, sir. Sir, again to interrupt you, I will just clarify that students are asking a lot of queries on 9th of September. So students, we have two sessions on 9th of September. Okay, and the timing would of course not be the same as it is for other sessions, and it is only for 9th of September, not for other days, starting from 9th. Only for 9th you have two sessions. One is in the morning from 11 to 12:30, and the afternoon session would be from 1 to 2:30. So I will let you know tomorrow about it. Okay, so please don't get confused and don't ask questions in between this session. I will let you know tomorrow. I will make an announcement in tomorrow's session that you have two sessions on 9, and the timing also I will confirm tomorrow. Okay, so please attend your class now, right? Okay, so over to you, please.
Thank you. So I extremely apologize for not connecting the video. For it's for better connectivity of the audio. Since I'm having the internet issue at my end.
No problem, sir. You can carry on, and once your network is fine, then you can switch on your camera, sir. Yeah.
Certainly.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Let's continue then. Okay. So apart from regulating the corporate sector, our MCA also administered the three bodies, that is, one, the statutory bodies, second, the professional bodies, and third is the autonomous bodies. I'll be telling you what all these statutory, professional, autonomous bodies are. Okay, let's start with the statutory one. We have IBBI. You all must be knowing what is IBBI, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. What is its role, function? I'll be telling all these things in the later slides. Next, we have, of course, NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. Then, NCLAT, National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. Then, Investor Education and Protection Fund and Authority. Then, it's NFRA. It's a nightmare for the auditors. Volume is coming very slow. Okay. Okay. NAFRA. Have you heard before? It's a nightmare for the auditors. And there are rumors that this will definitely include company secretaries as well in near future. Then we have Competition Commission of India. Yes, section 133. Okay. Professional bodies. Three professional bodies, MCA having jurisdiction on. First, our mother institute, the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Then, government is having day-to-day interference of the government. What are the autonomous? All these three company secretaries of India. Then, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. All these three professional bodies are under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. What are the autonomous bodies? These are independent working bodies that are not having any day-to-day interference of the government. Although these are the government bodies, but there is no day-to-day interference of the government. Just like government is having directly, indirectly interference in all the three professional bodies, how the government officials are nominees in the central council of our institute, or in the Institute of Chartered Accountants as well, and the Institute of Cost Accountants as well. So in the autonomous bodies, they do have their representatives, but there is no day-to-day interference. First one is Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, IICA. You must be knowing about the independent director exam. Independent director exam is being conducted by IICA. Next, National Foundation on Corporate Governance. Next, National Foundation on CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility. So all these two national foundations, it's a type of NGO. It's a non-government organization in which our institute also is one of the participant at the member. It's on the consulting board, and they do provide their input on various aspects of corporate governance to provide better governance, better compliance, suo motu compliance. And the National Foundation on CSR provides help sort of thing to the corporates who are managing the corporate social responsibility. They do advise on which sector any corporate should, must, or may invest, or you can say socialize the certain amount that has to be spent on as per their net worth or net profits or whatever the criteria is on the CSR. So can you please show earlier slides for once? Okay. Let me quickly start with the slide 1. This is the very first slide, MCA. We are having only 3 pointers for this. It's a union ministry, regulates corporate sector, and three bodies: statutory, professional, and autonomous. Statutory bodies: IBBI, NCLT, NCLT, IPF, NAFRA, CCI. Professional bodies: ICSI, ICAI, and cost accountants. Then we have autonomous bodies: IICA, then NFCG, then National Foundation on CSR. It is under IICA. So you are a bit fast, so I missed it. Okay, I'll be a little slow then. Okay. Organogram of MCA. What is MCA? The mother body, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. This is what the organogram is. Who is the Union Minister? Shri Nirmala Sitharaman. Minister of State, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur. The current Secretary to MCA, Shri Rajesh Verma. And then we have Additional Secretary, then Director General of Corporate Affairs, then various Joint Secretaries. So I cannot name them. There are various Joint Secretaries in the ministry. Okay, there is one Minister of State, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur, and there is one category Minister of State with independent charge. So we have one Union Minister, then a Minister of State in Corporate Finance, or we can say Ministry, and there is a Minister of State with independent charge. So currently there is Minister of State. The role of Minister of State is to assist the Union Minister. He is not having any independent charge as such. Okay, it's Anurag, not Anuraj. Pardon, please. Thank you. It's Anurag Singh Thakur. Yeah, right. So currently, Shri Anurag Singh Thakur is assisting the Union Minister in taking all the policy decisions or framing whatever the bylaws, rules, and regulations they are framing. Had there been a Minister of State with independent charge? No, PP Chaudhary sir was prior to Anurag Singh Thakur. Yeah, and then we have Secretary MCA, then we have Additional Secretary, then Director General of Corporate Affairs, and then various Joint Secretaries. We will get the organogram of MCA in the website itself. We'll get the names of the latest Joint Secretaries, the Additional Secretaries, and all. We'll get the same. Okay, the very first and foremost thing is to study a website. Whatever topic has been allotted to you or you are working on, you must analyze the website of that particular topic. That is a must. And for our institute, or we can say our profession, the Mr. Corporate website is a day-to-day hand-holding website. One has to deal with this website, whether or not he has a core competency in corporate laws or not, or whether he's a tax expert or whether he's other laws expert, labor law expert. But some or the other day has to deal with MCA. So I'll prefer for those who have not visited this site ever or have very few visits to this site, must identify the key stakes, must identify where and when we get things from MCA website, how to log in, how to do inspection, how to check the master data, how to do name check. All these things we should be having on our tips. What is the meaning of organogram? It's the organization chart that the organization structure is. That's organogram of MCA, the organizational structure. The top boss, then his junior, then his junior, then his junior, like that. Okay. Okay, sir, can you please show websites of regulators? Okay, can be done, but let's have some slides complete, and then we'll get on these websites. I'll show you one by one how these websites are. Authority responsibility chart, right. Okay, registrar of companies, very common name, ROC. Everyone is doing have to visit ROC, file this document to ROC, file that document to ROC, file this and that form to ROC. So what is ROC? It's a registry. The main purpose of registrar of companies is, so what is ROC? It's appointed by the Minister of Corporate Affairs. It's not a, I have a request that to take queries at last. Okay, no issues. The registrar of companies appointed by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Yes, the primary duty is to register companies and LLPs in various states and union territories, but that task has been assigned now to CRC, Central Registration Center, and that is headquartered in Delhi. Earlier, registration was being done at different ROCs of different states, but that now has been done through a centralized center that is called CRC. So other than the primary duty of registration of companies and LLPs, it ensures that companies and LLPs comply with the statutory requirement of the Act. There are certain rights and duties of you can say ROC. The primary is to register the company that has been shifted to CRC, and the other is to comply and with the statutory requirement of the Act, and functions as the registry of records of the LLPs and companies. This is what the registrar means, the registrar of companies or registrar of society, registrar of partnerships. What they all do, they register the records. What we are doing, we are filing the records. What Form AOC 4 do? It files financial statements. What Form MGT 7 do? It files the annual return. Or what other DIR 12, INC 22, all these forms do. We do all these forms. We file to the registry any changes in the director in Form DIR 12, any changes in the register of in INC 22. So, stakeholders. Yes, they are available for the inspection by paying a prescribed fee, currently of rupees 100. Earlier it was of rupees 50. Now it has been increased to 100 rupees. It's quite a long time back. Okay, how ROC work? Under whose supervision ROC works? So there is we have MCA, then under whose jurisdiction the regional director, I'm coming on to that also. The regional director works, and under the regional director's supervision, the registrar of companies works. Right? How many ROCs are there in India? There are 22 ROCs. Although each state is having one ROC, but there are few states who are having more than one ROC, and there are few states who has a combination of ROC, like Maharashtra. It has two ROC, Mumbai and Tamil Nadu. Mumbai and Pune. And the another state is, yes, exactly, Tamil Nadu. Then we have a single ROC for Himachal Pradesh, for Haryana, for Punjab at Chandigarh. So by this we have 22 ROCs in India that are under the supervision of various regional directors. So what is regional director? Let's come on to that. Regional director in charge of respective regions. How many regions are there? We'll discover this on in the next few pointers. So each region comprises of various states, union territories. So RD supervises the works of registrar of companies working in their region. Certain powers of central government has been delegated to regional director, also to ROC as well, but there are very limited powers that has been delegated to ROC. Most of the powers are delegated to regional director. For example, the shifting of registered office state to state, or ratification in the name of company, or merger, acquisition, the approvals. Fast track merger I'm talking about, not that complete merger that has been delegated to NCLT, but fast track mergers are, the power of fast track mergers are delegated to regional director. So RD is also having the power to inspect the books of accounts of the company under the Act. It has the power to initiate any inquiry on a specific complaint received or suo moto maybe. But generally they do work on a specific request or on the orders of the central government. There are lesser chances that RD is having a suo moto action for inspection of books of accounts on a company. So total 7 regional directors and the regions: Northern region, Western, Eastern, Southern, then Northwest, then Southeast and Northeast. There are 7 regional directors that are working under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Corporate Affairs and have further jurisdiction on 22 ROCs in India. Official liquidator. These are the officers appointed by the central government. And what is central government here? The Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Okay, sir, it's 30 minutes already and you are still not visible. I'm really sorry. I can put on my video, but then we'll definitely have having the connectivity issue. Officers of the central government. What is central government here? The Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and are attached to various high courts. High courts. Official liquidators are appointed and are attached to various high courts. OL are under the administrative charge of respective regional directors. So regional directors is having a seniority over the registrar of companies and the official liquidators as well. So what does the official liquidator do? It conducts overall process of liquidation of the company. In the present scenario, after coming of the IBC, the official liquidator's power has been transferred to the liquidators, that are the insolvency professionals. But in the erstwhile act, the Companies Act 1956, OL used to do the liquidation process and overall transactions. He used to take over the business, sell the assets of the company, and distribute the proceeds to the creditors. This is what the present insolvency professional do. Okay, when liquidator is appointed, when the respective high court passes the order of liquidation, and in the current scenario, NCLT passes the orders of the liquidation. So after the NCLT was constituted, power of winding up of the company vests into NCLT. So there is no more requirement of the official liquidator for the liquidation processes that has been applied before or presented before the NCLT. Here, official liquidator has no role. The insolvency professional acts as the liquidator of the company. SFIO, another nightmare for us, constituted under section 211 of the Act. Again, works under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, supervised by, catchy point here, we have IAS, IPS, ICLS, IRS, and other central service officials of the government of India. Getting the point, but high rank officials are there in SFIO and how rigid they are. I really hope what is the the impact if any of us or any corporate is under the scanner of SFIO. It is really a nightmare because they are having the arresting powers. They can arrest you without any warrant if they find that you are indulged in any financial fraud. You means any professional or any company or any related person. So conducts multidisciplinary investigations of corporate fraud. See, we have a lot of things to discuss for each regulators, but given the time, I have just briefed about the different regulators. We'll definitely discuss all these things in your question answer round. But let's quickly analyze in pointers that what is a particular regulator is all about. So it is having its headquarters in New Delhi with 4 regional offices in Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. It has exclusive powers to investigate instances of frauds under the Act. It can act suo motu, it can act on the orders of Minister of Corporate Affairs. Regional director in this case has no power. He cannot command any of the SFIO nor can give orders. He can have direct orders from NC only. Section 212 is the actual nightmare which gives the power to arrest, and they can arrest anyone if they found in their investigation that a person or a company or the director has done a fraud. National Company Law Tribunal, we all know, central government constituted it under 408 with effect from June 1, 16. The Kasi judicial body, the successor of CLB. Earlier there was CLB, Company Law Board. Now it's NCLT. What are the powers or the work area? Adjudicates issue related to Indian companies, class action suits, dissolutions, operation mismanagement, provision of financials, investigation and freezing of assets, compounding, change in financial year. All these things are. And dissolution, yes, dissolution word includes your winding ups also, because dissolution is the last step of any winding up. Headed by president, judicial and technical members. This is important. No civil court has the jurisdiction to consider any suit or proceeding with reference to any matter which the tribunal, means NCLT, or the appellate tribunal, the National Law Appellate Tribunal, that is NCLAT, is empowered to decide. That means whatever the suit or the case that has been referred to NCLT or has been enlisted to be referred to NCLT or NCLAT, no civil court has any jurisdiction over that suit or complaint or matter. It has to exclusively be delivered by NCLT only. So any person aggrieved by the order or decision of NCLT may refer an appeal to the National Complaint and Appellate Tribunal within 45 days from the date on which the copy of order has been received. It is not like the honorable judge has passed the order on a particular date and we have to count 45 days from that date. No. 45 days from the date when you receive the copy, hard copy of the order of the NCLT. Let's come to NCLT now, constituted under section 410, NCLT under 408, and NCLAT under 410. We have certain powers of NCLT that in the recent times were delegated to regional director. Like conversion of public company to private company was delegated to RD, change in financial year was delegated to RD. But initially it was with the NCLT only. But given the burden on the NCLT, few work areas were allotted to regional directors also. Okay, so NCLAT is constituted against to hear appeal against the orders of first NCLT, then we have IBBI, and then we have CCI, the Competition Commission of India. It reviews the decision of all the three against the orders passed by all these three NCLT, IBBI, and CCI, and check it on the point of law or fact. No new evidence is admissible. It's just like it reviews the decision of NCLT, IBBI, or CCI based on law or fact. IBBI, yes, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board, established on October 1st, 2016, was given first to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, IBC code, IB code rather. She stands for code itself. So it's a multiple task institution that creates regulations and control the insolvency professional agency, IPA, and professionals involved in insolvency and bankruptcy process, that is insolvency professional. What are the powers and functions? It registers the insolvency agency and also registers the insolvency professionals. Leaving on of fee on the agency and professionals, specifying regulations and standards for them, and monitoring and carrying out inspections and investigations for any fraud done, and information utilities as well. Yeah, right. Okay, I have a voice echo problem. Okay, okay. Is it so, or only few of the you are experiencing echo problem? Okay, I'm audible. Okay, thank you.
Sir, only one or two students are having problem na regarding the voice.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Then we have Investor Education and Protection Fund, IEPF. What is it all about? So, IEPF and IEPF Authority was established in 2016 under Section 125 of the current Companies Act. Promotes investor awareness and protection of funds of investor. Any person whose unclaimed or unpaid amount, dividend amount, has been transferred by the company to IEPF may claim their funds. So, in what time the unclaimed dividend is transferred to IEPF? 7 consecutive years. Yes, right. After 7 consecutive years, 7 years and 35 days post declaration of dividend, the amount is transferred to IEPF, and any person who has not received dividend can claim from IEPF as well. Role of MCA in IEPF: the ministry was responsible for setting up the fund and the authority. The same was notified by MCA for refund on unclaimed dividends, and for which we have to file a web-based IEPF form, IEPF 5, along with the requisite document. You will get that web-based form, the list of the requisite documents on the IEPF website itself. Then we have NAFRA. Yes, it is nightmare for the auditors, statutory auditors presently. Constituted in 2018 as independent regulator. The concept was proposed after the Satyam scandal took place in 2009 and then introduced in 2018. Took 9 years to constitute this authority. See, it took almost more than 9 years to constitute this authority to investigate the financial. See, it took almost more than 9 years to constitute this authority. See, it took almost more than 9 years to constitute this authority to investigate the financials and the standards of the auditors after the Satyam scandal took place. A single scandal forced the central government to constitute an independent regulator for the auditors. Powers and duties: recommending accounting and auditing policies and standards in the country. They have the power to recommend the auditing policies which they deem fit and proper for the better compliance and governance. Undertaking investigations and imposing sanctions against defaulting auditors and audit firms in form of monetary penalties, and they may be debarred from practice up to 10 years. Must have gone through the recent news that Deloitte, or I think KPMG, or one of the big fours, were debarred for 5 years, and that decision was challenged before the court. See the powers NFRA is having. PwC, yes. Deloitte also. They have the power to monitor and oversee the quality of the service of the auditors. Sooner or later, the company secretaries will be getting into the ambit of
Here's what I
NFRA, but
found.
so far, it's only applicable to the statutory auditors. It says auditors. It's not about the word is auditor, not statutory auditor. But if we go into literal interpretation, the person who is doing the audit of the company, the audit may include the internal audit as well. So far, the applicability: all the listed companies, irrespective of their paid up capital or turnover. Then the unlisted companies having paid up capital not less than 500 CRs, turnover 1000 CRs, and outstanding borrowings of 500 CRs, not less than 500 CRs of immediate preceding financial year. The applicability has to be judged based on the financials of the immediately preceding financial year. And we have SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India. It's a statutory regulatory body, yes, responsible to regulate the Indian capital market. What it does: protects the interest of the investors by enforcing certain rules and regulations for stock exchanges and other financial intermediaries. Headquartered at Mumbai, regional offices at Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata, and Ahmedabad, along with other local offices across prominent cities in the country. Primary reason to set up SEBI was to prevent the malpractices in the capital market and promote development. It's a very important regulatory body and a good decision of the central government indeed. Securities Appellate Tribunal, SAT. Okay, I've been requested to show NAFRA slide again. Okay. Here is the NAFRA slide. So let me just come on to that brief again. That presently it is applicable only to the auditors doing the audit, and audit means stat audit. But sooner or later, every type of audit will be coming under this ambit, be it internal audit, be it secretarial audit, or whatsoever. But they will definitely have more power in days to come. It is a nightmare for all the type of the auditors and the audit that is applicable to a particular company. So far, applicability is limited to listed company, and listed company having paid up a capital of 500 CR, turnover 1000 CR, borrowing 500 CR. But they will like certainly reduce this criteria and includes more company into their ambit. Okay, let's go. SAT, statutory body again, constituted by the SEBI Act, the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act 1992. Hears and dispose appeal against the order passed by the SEBI or the adjudicating officers of SEBI, the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. So both these authorities, the orders passed by these authorities or their officials, and of course the Security and Exchange Board and the adjudicating officers, whatever the order has been passed and the person is aggrieved by the orders of these authorities, may prefer an appeal to SAT. SAT has same powers as vested in a civil court, is as equivalent to civil court, and the next appeal, just like NCLT, is referred to the apex court, that is the Supreme Court of India. Okay, then the stock exchange, most important component of stock market. A regulated electronic space, yes, of course, it is an electronic space where the stockbrokers and traders can buy and sell the securities. The leading stock exchanges, the BSE Limited, that is Bombay Stock Exchange Limited. Earlier it was Bombay Stock Exchange, but now the name has been to BSE Limited, and the National Stock Exchange Limited. Earlier there used to have some local and regional stock exchanges, but they were like given the opportunity to exit, and only the top-notch exchanges were left with, and they are the Calcutta Stock Exchange, one of the oldest stock exchange in Asia. Then we have Indian Commodity Exchange Limited and Multi Commodity Exchange of India Limited. All these stock exchanges are regional stock exchanges, and all other stock exchanges, that is Madras Stock Exchange, Ahmedabad, Delhi Stock Exchange, are no more into existence. So SEBI frames the bylaws and regulates through various rules, regulations, circulars, guidelines that are binding upon the stock exchanges and the financial intermediaries. The Reserve Bank of India, also known as the central bank. Now, there is a Central Bank of India, but in the literal sense, the Reserve Bank is the central bank. Banker's Bank, you can say. Set up in 1934, older than the partition, through an act called the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. It's the central bank and independent apex monetary authority. Apex means supreme monetary authority in the country. Controls issue and supply of Indian rupee. Regulator of entire banking system, controls the commercial banks, the non-banking financial companies, carries out India's monetary policy and exercises the supervision. Regulator of entire banking system, controls the commercial banks, the non-banking financial companies, carries out India's monetary policy and exercises the supervision and control over banks and NBFCs. Headquartered at Mumbai, that is the place where RBI Governor Chair, and there are 4 regional offices in the Golden Quadrilateral. Must have listened to the word, the Golden Quadrilateral. In school days, there was the terminology. The highway, the Golden Quadrilateral connecting all 4 major cities, and in those cities we have the RBI main regional offices, that is Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, and New Delhi. So I have named it that the Golden Quadrilateral of RBI. Okay, this is interesting. Competition Commission of India. Again, a statutory body of government responsible for enforcing the Competition Act 202. Preceded by MRTP. Very common name, no? MRTP. Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Commission. MRTP Act was there. It prohibits the anti-competitive agreements, abuse of dominant position by the enterprises.
सॉरी सर, एक्चुअली आपकी आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है.
अभी ठीक है?
हाँ जी, अभी ठीक है.
Okay, let me repeat the CCI. It's a statutory body responsible for enforcing the Competition Commission Act 2002. It is preceded by the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Commission. Earlier there was MRTP Act. This particular act prohibits anti-competitive agreements, abuse of dominant position by enterprises, and regulates the combination of what combination, the acquisition or equitable control or merger and acquisitions of entities that may provide a dominant position to a particular company that can have the adverse effect on the competition within the country. The beauty of CCI is to eliminate practices having a adverse effect on competition, promote and sustain competition, protect the interest of consumers, and ensure freedom of trade in the market. Freedom of trade in the market. Let me give you some examples. So there is one word monopoly and another word is near monopoly. Monopoly is all we know, the one who is dominating a particular segment of the market. What is near monopoly? This is the example of near monopoly. Microsoft Office. Is there any other player in the market who is a competitor to the operating system of Microsoft? No. Google, the leading search engine. Although there is Bing, there is Yahoo, but can they compete with Google? No. ITC, it owns most of the cigarette brands in the country. So what if I, me, or you enters into the cigarette business? Can we compete with ITC without any trouble? No. Pidilite. Any alternate to this adhesive manufacturing company? Fevicol dena. This is what we used to say. Fevicol, the brand of Pidilite. Then GlaxoSmithKline. Eno. Very common word, no? Eno. There are different brands of different manufacturers, but all we know is Eno. So far, refining and concerned, BPCL, HPCL, ONGC, all three government-owned companies. No alternate. Electricity, Reliance, Tata, Adani. All these are the three big players. In Delhi, we have Rajdhani and Tata. Only two players are there in Delhi. Then railways. I don't even need to explain. There is no alternate to Indian Railways. So these are the near monopolies. Monopoly has been abundant. That has been debarred from with the impact of MRTP Act and now the CCI Act. So these are the near monopolies. Let me give you some other examples. There is certain ads in the television that says, have ever heard the name Mayur Jug? We all must be knowing the word Mayur Jug. What is Mayur Jug? Mayur is the name of the company that manufactures jug. But when our parents or family members go out and purchase and demands a jug, we always say Mayur Jug. But that is the impact that the particular brand has imposed on the customers. Then we say M-Seal. What is M-Seal actually? In literal meaning, M-Seal is the epoxy compound. It is M-Seal is not. It's a brand name. It's not a product. M-Seal is a brand name of epoxy compound. But do we know any other brand name other than M-Seal? No. When we ask for noodles, we say Maggi. Although there are Top Ramen and now Patanjali also. But is there any alternate to Maggi in true sense? No. When we ask for adhesive, we say Fevicol dena. Only Fevicol. Fevicol is a brand name. It's not a material. Fevicol is a brand name. Then Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. Although Pepsi is there, a lot of Thumbs Up is there, a lot of other brands are there, but Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. And yes, of course, Colgate, Amul butter. Butter is like some other brands are also there in butter, but there is no competition to Amul. Desh ka namak, Tata namak. Although ITC is also manufacturing salt, but there is a tagline Desh ka namak, Tata namak. Yes, Xerox. People don't say photocopy. Iski Xerox kar do. Xerox is a brand. Xerox is not a process. Process is a photocopy. Xerox is the brand name. So these are the near monopolies. These are not giving any competition in literal sense or in technical or law terms to anyone, but in itself is a competition or a say near monopoly existing even after MRTP and CCI. There is no competition to them. Surf Excel, Bisleri, although there is Himalayan water as well, but there is no tough competition to them. Okay, let's come to TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority, another statutory body formed in 1997 and regulates the telecommunication sector. Okay, just give me a moment. I'll just check out with the internet, and if it has resumed, I'll put on my video. Give me a minute, please. Thank you. Resume, but I'll try if it's working. Let me see. Please tell me whether I'm audible in it properly or not. Now audible. Okay. 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 Try. It's a regulator of telecommunication sector. It regularly issues orders and directions on various subjects such as tariff of service to and no telecom dispute settlement appellate voice bad voice is now telecom dispute whatever orders are there from a create as
I think your voice is breaking.
voice is still breaking.
Yeah. Yes.
General administrative and the there is no more power with the companies sorry about that.
Hello.
I'm just checking the
Hello.
time. Hello.
So you are not audible.
I'm checking it with the
Sir?
internet service provider. Give me a moment.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Extremely sorry for the trouble. People are working on the internet issue. Maybe get resolved in next 10-15 minutes. You're not audible. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, let's move. Steps to succeed. Okay, before coming on steps to succeed, let's get a brief about how to deal with the regulators. All the steps to succeed, the positives and the negatives, are for how to deal with the regulators. There is an apprehension that all the regulators are having the mindset of getting things done through the under table scenario, or in little sense, I could say a bribe scenario. But that is not true. Not every regulator, not every official is hungry of the bribe, or you can say not every act assignment is completed on the basis of bribe. It is not true. This is what all we have the apprehension of the officials, ROC, RD, or other regulatory authorities whom we are dealing with. This is not the correct apprehension. This is not true in literal sense. Let's come on to the positives first. What are the do's and don'ts? This is important. Always prepare and update yourself before arriving at the office of any regulator, especially ROC, with whom we have to deal in day-to-day purpose. Carry all the relevant papers. It should not be the case that you are liaising with any official on a particular assignment or matter, and you are having no proper papers to justify your assignment, the application, and you are arriving at the office of any regulator and requesting them to consider your application without all the proper papers in the file. Tag, mark, and highlight the relevant portion. It should be the first thing to be done while preparing your file before submitting it to the regulator. For those who have not started their training, these positives and negatives will definitely help. And for those who are undergoing training, they might be knowing all these things already. Be on time. Don't be late. Dress code is very important. All these positives and negatives are, you can say, experienced by me. I have observed all these things in past 7 years of my professional career and 2 years of my training. As a total 9 years, I have observed these things. The dress code is also important. You cannot arrive at the regulator's office in a very casual dress code. It should be a formal one. Put off your mobile phones, either should be on vibration or switched off before entering into the office. It is like it will distract or irritate the official that you or that official are having communication and in between your mobile rings. This doesn't look good. No argument with the official. Yes, of course, we are not in the position to argue with the official. Either way, wish the official concerned before you start the conversation. Yes, it is always good to wish, not just the official, but to everyone whom you are meeting or listening or having communication for the first time. Then we have structure your queries and questions. Isn't it important to structure your queries and questions? You must be having key notes of the questions you want to ask. It should not be like, oh, sir, let me just think what other questions I was having. Oh. This is not the scenario. You have to be ready with your questions. You have to be brief. You have to be specific. You can pen down all your questions. There is no bar on that. You can read your questions in front of the officials that these are the queries I was having and let me just quickly read one by one. You can do that, but it should not be the case that you are thinking that what question you have to ask and before entering into the office. Should be ready. Then always carry your identity card or authority letter. Identity card if you are a member, and authority letter if you are arriving at any regulator's office or on behalf of your organization or your trainer. Always carry your identity card. Let's get on to the negative side. Do not ask irrelevant or too many questions. Let's get on to the negative side. Always carry your identity card. Let's get on to the negative side. Do not ask irrelevant or too many questions. Very important. The government officials certainly get offended when you ask irrelevant questions or too many questions. They're not there to address your frequent queries. For that, you have professionals to address your concerns. Only ask the relevant questions, and that too limited ones for a particular assignment or issue you are having. Definitely do not try to bribe them. There is a phrase, ताली एक हाथ से नहीं बजती. Like, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो bribe नहीं मांगते. ऐसा नहीं है कि हम ऑफर नहीं करते. ताली एक हाथ से नहीं बजती. But yes, we can resist ourselves on our part that never to bribe them, never try to bribe them. If you have genuine questions, try to limit your genuine questions. Definitely, if you are having certain number of questions that has to be addressed there and then, you can request the officials that, sir, I am having quite number of questions. Please allow me to raise these queries one by one, and I request you to address these queries. This should be the way to deal with. If you are having a lot many queries for a particular assignment, but before arriving at any regulator's office, prepare yourself. Research on the websites, refer to the frequently asked questions that are provided by each regulator. Maybe your few queries are addressed there and then in the FAQs only. Limit your questions to be asked to a certain official of any government department to whom you have to liaison. Okay, do not ask for any internal information about the department or its officials. I know these are these negatives are quite difficult because when we enter any government official office, we are eager to know very brief information. Who is in charge of that department? Who is in charge of that department? Who is in charge of this particular assignment? Obviously, you have to know all the organogram of the department. So you will get that organogram in the regulator's website itself. This is not the question to be asked to a particular official to whom you have to deal. Do not start with negative words. Be positive, be confident, and be limited to your queries. Do not try to compare your case with others. This will definitely ruin the scenario. कि सर आपने उस केस में तो ऐसे कर दिया था मुझे पता चला. This is the most negative thing I have ever experienced. This will ruin your case only. Do not use the name of any other person to whom you are not related or associated with. There is a tendency to relate ourselves with some other person whom you have just heard the name and you are relating yourself with them. That I have been known to this and that person, or that person had referred to me. Never do such things. Do not show your impatience, and this can only overcome through your positive attitude. Do not treat them casually. Of course, how can we treat any government official in a casual manner? It has to be deal with a professional. Means giving references. Yes. Do not ask for their personal information. Although they will never share their personal information, but it is not good on our part to ask for their personal information, their personal email ID, their personal contact number, so that you can like follow up in off business hours. Never do that. Do not use their system, computer, or internet. Although they are not supposed to allow any outsider to use their system or the internal internet scenario, but it is your responsibility not to ask. Okay, these are the websites. Some few important websites. I'll be sharing this PowerPoint with the team, and I'll request them to mail this PowerPoint to all of you, so that you can have a quick reference to the pointers. Although these are the basic pointers, you must all be having knowledge of all these things. But there is like nothing negative to have such type of quick reference with you. NCLT, MCA, SFIO, CCI, RD, ROC. So there is no specific RD, ROC website. It is connected with the MCA website itself. OL, LLP, RBI, ICSI, our parent institute. SEBI, income tax. We can take screenshots. No, there is no need of taking screenshots. I'm giving this particular slide to the institute, and will request them to email all of you. Okay, let's come to particular slide I was eager to discuss. Can you see these two people? This is what we face in our professional life. There is a particular number on whose one side one is able to see as 9, and on the other side the other one is able to see as 6. Both are right on their side. This is the scenario, or we can say this is the hard fact we professional face, especially when there is a point of interpretation of a particular section or rule, or any definition. It is not necessary that each one of us should have a same thought process. Still, my voice is low. Few of you are still having issues with the voice.
No, sir, it's okay, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'll request to those who are having voice issues to kindly check at their end, because the majority is not having any issue with my voice. Okay. Another one. Is it really confusing? On the right hand side, the person is can visible 3, and on the left side it's 4. This is a scenario where, yes, perspective. मुझे कैसा लग रहा है, आपको कैसा लग रहा है, both the things made for. It is not necessary that you and me shall have the same thought process on a particular thing. Another one. On the upper side it's 7, and in the lower side it's 8. Again, a matter of perception, how we identify things. Again, it is very easy to become a good professional. Just need to be above average, because the rest of the world is below average. Very simple thought process. Okay, so this is all what I have for today. You can start with the questionnaire, or if you want, I can repeat any slide if you want. I'm ready with your questionnaire. You can have questions one by one. Although I know I have missed too many questions, but it would be helpful if you can repeat your questions. I've opened up the chat box and the Q&A section. Okay, too many questions. Let me address one by one. So there is a question that while dealing with MCA 21, how we know where the form reaches, whether it is to ROC or RD. See, every form that we file is filed with the registry of ROC. Every form. There is no such form that is filed directly to RD. Every form has to enroute with ROC only, whatever the form is being filed. It is the ROC who then further forwards the particular form to RD. Just like in case of your conversion of public to private or fast track merger or shifting of RO from one registered office, one state to another, all the forms are required to RD. Please show the negative point slide again. I have already opened that. How to become a CSR professional? Is there any criteria? So Institute of Company Secretaries of India is regularly organizing the CSR professional course. Already 4 batches are completed. The 4th batch is about to complete in next couple of days, and there will be soon a 5th batch of the CSR professionals. And the entitlement is being a member of ICSI or any graduate can apply for the course. So definitely you can for the 5th batch. How can you so can you share a little bit information about SFIO? SFIO, it's a nightmare, seriously. SFIO. So what specific query are you having about SFIO? If you can highlight that. Is Defense Services appoint CS? If yes, what is the procedure? So Defense Services CS is the requirement as per the Companies Act. So I'm not sure whether Defense Services appoints Company Secretary unless and until they are having any entity registered under the Companies Act or not. Since applicability is there, but you can definitely appoint suo motu a Company Secretary, irrespective of your paid up capital or whatever the requirement is there in the Section 203 Red with Rule 8 and 8A. So how to gain expertise in corporate governance profession? See, the company secretary profession is in itself a corporate governance profession. So to gain expertise is to get updated. There are a lot of amendments in the Companies Act. Every day and other day there is a certain type of amendment. So all I would suggest is always refer MCA e-book before referring any section or rule. MCA e-book is the latest Companies Act. As and when any update is there, that MCA e-book section updates itself there and then. So it is always better to refer MCA ebook for any sort of interpretational query. Okay, what I have missed? Please answer, sir. What was your question? I just skipped. Is UPSC a only way for ROC RD OL? Certainly yes. ICLS Academy is the one through which you can be appointed in the offices of ROC and RD, and for that you have to crack the UPSC exam. You are telling about identity card. Is it ICSI card? Yes. When you are a member, it is ICSI card. When you are a student, the authority letter from your employer or trainer, along with your personal ID card, that can be PAN card, Aadhaar card, whatsoever. What is the scope of jobs in SEBI for company secretary? This is hard to answer. There are various vacancies for articleship in ROCs. It is beneficial to join there or a listed company. See, to join ROC, a listed company, or a particular practicing firm, it is like what you have to do in near future. If you want to go for job and that too in a listed company, definitely you should go for training in a listed company. See, ROC training, what I have heard, never done that, but so far I have heard people are not having any experience for that particular training in the ROC. Other than having connections with the officials, there is no benefit of ROC training. Honestly, what I have heard from my budding professionals and students and colleagues. Okay, let me too many questions and few questions are being skipped. Akansha Khandelwal, please answer. What was your question, Akansha? Sir, is there any way of remembering sections of company law? See, there is no way. You have to read it again and again. Try to have discussions with your friends. Try to form a group and discuss. What we used to do in our days, we used to have a closed group session every alternate day, and a particular topic was allotted to a particular person by the number. That first day you, second day you, third day you, and a particular section was allotted. He has to prepare on that section. Others also have to prepare. He will be delivering a lecture and other will be raising the questions, and the discussion was, this is the way the discussion goes on, and this is the way sections are remembered. It is hard to remember each and every section, but by the applicability and continuous discussion, definitely you will be able to like remember the sections and the clauses. Okay, is there any vacancy for articleship in ROC? Is it beneficial? I have answered that. So can we practice in income tax after becoming qualified CS? Yes, of course. There is no bar. How can we manage to comply with all the compliance? This is what we have to do That is what for the profession of company secretary has been established. If we ask such type of questions, then there is no need of the profession, no. What is the difference between ACS and FCS? Okay, honestly, there is no difference. It is just a designation given by the institute to a person who is having 5 years continuous experience down the line, and that is escalated to FCS. So that means if you are into practice for a continuous period of 5 years, or you are into job for a continuous period of 5 years, then you will be escalated to FCS on an application accompanied by the required fees. What advice you give for a trainee to gain knowledge in this field during training period? Which field? Can you specify the field? So please tell my query also. Okay, what was your query? Let me check. I think I have skipped that. Can you repeat your query? The person who has asked me to please tell my query also. Can we do some certificate course with ICS? And if yes, then which one will be good? See, all the courses are good to go. The committee that is examining the structure and scheduling the courses is a very competitive one. All the courses, be it POSH, be it on CSR, be it on corporate governance, be it on forensic audit, all the courses that are offered by ICSI are good to go. There is no course that have more competitive advantage over other. All the courses are equally important. So can you tell about the scope of CS in IBC in brief? Honestly, I cannot tell or explain the scope of CS in IBC in brief because there is vast scope of CS. There is no limit to the scope. We can practice as insolvency professional. We can appear before the NCLT under IBC. We can there is ample scope. If you can practice, if you have the ability, if you have the confidence, if you have the knowledge, you can. There is no brief introduction to it. So do you provide training? Okay. Okay. Yes, of course. But currently there is no vacancy in my firm. How to apply for training in ROC or MC or government bodies? So they from time to time issues the circulars notifications and that are available on the website itself. That will provide you a clear picture as to the vacancies. For that, you have to refer to the specific site of the government body. So can we practice in income tax? Yes, you can practice in income tax. What is the scope of CSR professional along with CS? Of course, CSR course is an add-on. If you are into practice or into job and you are a certified CSR professional just like me, I was the one. I was on top 50 participants of the very first CSR batch that was introduced by the Company Secretary Institute. So definitely, it will improve your knowledge. It will improve your confidence for that particular course. You have to prepare a project. You have to complete your assignments. You have to undergo a small test, online test, and then after you will be awarded a certificate of certified CSR professional. Of course, it is an add-on. This will definitely give a little, not a major, but a little boost to your qualification. There is a repeated question of practicing in income tax after qualifying the CS. See, there is no bar in practicing tax. It's just you will not be able to issue any legal certificate, opinion certificate, or you will not be able to sign the audited balance sheet. But yes, other than that, you can appear before the statutory authorities. You can file the returns. You can prepare the financials. Certainly, you can practice in that, but definitely you won't be able to sign as a tax professional. What advice you would be given to gain knowledge? Okay, to gain knowledge in this field, I have already answered. Sir, if our trainer doesn't deal with all the authorities, then can we learn it on our own? Yes, of course. This is not a mandatory thing that a particular trainer, or if you talk about me, it is not necessary that I am dealing in all the authorities. Maybe the number of authorities that we have discussed today, I am dealing only with 4 or 5. There could be. I'm not dealing with TRI. I'm not dealing with IRDA. I'm not dealing with ICSI. So it is not necessary that a particular professional is dealing with all the authorities. But yes, for us, for being trainees, we can definitely learn on our own by referring to the website, by searching the website, by seeing what all contents are there on the website of each regulator. You will definitely get brief knowledge about what it is all about. Is secretarial audit in the ambit of SFIO? Not now, but yes, in near future, there are rumors that all types of audits will be under the scanner of SFIO. But yes, let me tell you, if there is any SFIO inquiry imposed on a particular company, they will definitely scan your secretarial audit report also. I have seen instances where SFIO has issued notice to the secretarial auditors on the quality of their secretarial audit report, that they have not highlighted the major financial frauds that were there in the company. And we, the professionals, were summoned to answer and also to visit the SFIO office and to having answers to their queries on there and then, on the very spot answers you are required to give. So it is not like SFIO can have any have only the financial aspect they are undertaking. So far NFRA is concerned, NFRA is having scope only on the audit, the statutory audit so far, but SFIO is like, if I would say in a Desi language, it is like khula sand. Pardon my language, but this is the hard fact. SFIO there is no control over any official of the SFIO. Central government has given them the liberty to inspect as and when they deem fit. I would not be taking the names, but yes, in recent times, few of our professionals have even get arrested by SFIO, the company secretaries I'm talking about. Okay, if someone has so many of attempt in their executive program, then has many difficulties to start career and got a training in good form. No, this is not necessary. Although few firms are there who prefer those who have cleared their executive or final in first attempt, but it should not be the criteria. If I talk about myself, I have cleared foundation in first attempt, executive in first attempt, final three group in first attempt, and then single group was like I cleared that in three attempts. So it is not necessary to judge a person based on his number of attempts. It could be any chance that he is not able or she is not able to clear in the first attempt. So judging any person on the basis of the number of attempts is not the criteria and should not be the criteria rather. But yes, there are few firms who prefer, who there are many companies who prefer person having all India rank or have cleared all the groups of final or executive in first attempt. Yes, there are certain, but it should not be the criteria. So please answer my question also. Ankit Gupta. Okay, I have skipped your question, I guess. Can you repeat? Okay, is can we do some certificate course with CS? Okay, I guess I have answered this. Scope of CS in government department. There is no specific scope, and in the government departments, CS are not getting the permanent job, or we can say we are not getting any government job as such. All the company secretaries in employment in the government companies are employed on contractual basis and not on the permanent basis. I want to be a employee CS in a listed company, but I also want to get into the field of teaching simultaneously. Is this practically good because generally PCS join coaching? Please advise. No, it is not necessary. Even company secretaries in employment can join a coaching center if their time schedule and the organization allows. There is no bar. Can we do articleship under your mentorship? Certainly, yes, but presently there is no vacancy in my firm. But we can, you can always get in touch with me for any of your professional query or difficulty if you are facing any. I have shared my number in the slide, and I'll definitely again showcase the slide having my email ID and contact number. You can definitely connect with me for any of your query. I'll be happy to assist. Okay. What is the requirement to be a CSR professional? I have already answered this. Requirement is should be a member of CS, CA, CWA, can be a graduate, MBA. Anyone can undergo the CSR course. Is PwC a good form of articleship? Sorry, I cannot comment on that. But definitely, being one of the good big four firms, you can. Is there any difference between liquidator and official liquidator? See, official liquidator. Give me a moment. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Okay, what question I was on? The difference between liquidator and official liquidator. See, official liquidator was the term we used in the Companies Act 1956 and before the constitution of the NCLT. The official liquidator was attached to the High Court for the liquidation process, but after the constitution of NCLT, the powers of official liquidator now has been transferred to the liquidator, which is insolvency professional, that is registered with IBBI, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Right? PwC question has been answered. If you want to work in a company in future, then articleship in firm or company, which is better and why? See, if you want to work in company, it is advisable to undergo training with the company because you get used to the environment of the corporate structure. Getting internship in a practicing firm, having internship in the practicing firm, and then joining a MNC or a listed entity or a big corporate will definitely provide you certain lapses because you won't be able to cope up with the environment in the first instance itself. You will get a little difficulty faced because of various reasons. Could be office politics, could be the environment in the office. So it is advisable. It is not mandatory, but yes, advisable. If you want to work in a company, it is purely your call to go. See, another point is in a practicing firm, you will get variety of work, but in an organization, in a particular company, you will get a limited task. Only to the field in which the company is working, you will get exposed to the environment of that particular company only. But in a practicing firm, you will get variety of work to be done. Could be merger, it could be shifting of RO, it could be multiple annual filings, it could be liaising with the regulators. It could be intellectual property assignments, anything. How to approach these listed companies and big fours for the articleship? See, there are two ways. One, to regularly visit the website on which they showcase their requirement of training. Second, nowadays Google groups and WhatsApp groups are more active and they are regularly posting the vacancies. Third, you can research about the company, get their email ID, and you can post your resume to that email ID or the respective company secretary's email ID of that company, and from that you can be enlisted, shortlisted for a particular articleship. PwC question is being repeated too many times. PwC is good for articleship. I won't say it's too good, but yes, being a big four, they may provide you a good exposure to the compliance. CSR question I've already dealt. IVC question already taken up. There is a question: is join NFRA or SFI office? Not able to get the question, but I presume that the question is: it is good to join NFRA or SFI office. It is not about it is good or bad. It is about what exposure you want for your career. Joining SFI or NFRA office is not a bad thing because you will be getting the experience of investigation, inspections, audits. You will get these kind of exposure in the NFRA and SFI office, and there are vacancies which you will be getting after visiting the respective websites of these organizations only. So can you suggest what can be done? What can we do after graduation along with CS? See, there are many short-term courses that can be done along with CS, but I will definitely prefer to focus on the CS at first, and later on you can do any type of course. There is an you know myth of doing LLB along with CS, but honestly, it is not possible to have a regular law degree along with CS because if someone questions, you will not be able to justify that how with a regular CS, LLB degree, how you manage to do your training, how you manage to study, how you manage your coaching, how you manage to give the exam. So it is quite difficult for us to explain, and also difficult to pursue simultaneously two professional courses. So it is advisable to focus on your CS profession first, and then you can do. You are free to do any other course. If I talk about myself, I qualified in 2013, and post giving my final examination, I opted for LLB. Then I joined LLB first year. I could have done it along with CS, but that is the thing I never advised to anyone to do simultaneously. Okay. See, there are too many questions. Pardon if I skip any question of yours. Is stock exchange are good choice for articleship? Definitely, yes. You will get the listing exposure. Listing exposure definitely good for you if you want to do your job or training in stock exchange. Sorry, in the listed company, you can have a choice of imparting training in the stock exchange. Definitely. But certification should we acquire unless we pass exams? See, institute is having a lot of courses in these days. Institute is like giving rather the maximum possible benefits to the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? We students and the members of ICSI. So there are ample number of certificate courses for members and students that we can undergo. So you can search on the website of icsi.edu. You will get the number of courses there, and you can opt anyone. All are equally important, and there is no such course that is having more advantage over the other. Scope of CS in IPR. Yes, we have the scope of CS in IPR. If you want to practice in IPR, you can enroll as a trademark agent directly without giving any trademark agent exam. All you have to do is file an application to the registry of trademarks along with your membership certificate, and definitely you can enroll yourself as a trademark agent and appear and register the trademarks. But this is limited to only trademarks. For copyright and all these things, they may require an attorney, and for attorney, you have to be an advocate. Which cities are good for training, metro or non-metro? See, this is not a proper question because good training depends upon the trainer, not about its being the city which is metro or non-metro. It's all about the person, depends upon the organization under whose structure you are getting your training. So as a fresher trainee, what skills are required minimum before starting training? See, there is no briefing as such that what is the minimum required skill. Although different trainers have different requirements that a person before joining the training must be aware of MS Office, must be aware of the recent developments in the act, recent changes in the act. So it depends upon the requirement of your trainer under whose organization you will be getting your training imparted. Stock exchange good. I have already answered. How to start a PCS firm? See, this is not a proper platform to answer such type of question. I can answer you this in a private conversation. You can text me, you can ping me, and I will definitely discuss this thing with any one of you who have the desire to be a PCS in near future or post their qualification? Stock exchange are good option, already answered. Please share something on RBI's this paper. What is this paper on governance? A discussion paper. Okay, RBI's discussion paper on governance in banks, which talks about secretarial audit for banks. See, this particular circular for secretarial audit for banks is a recent one and is in not much clear to all of us, because the circular talks about secretarial audit for banks, and there is one apprehension that it talks about audits for each branch of the bank, but this is not the true interpretation. The intent of the government is to have audit for bank means one bank, not each and every branch. But practically, if you see, this should not be the criteria, because each branch of a particular bank, it's a headache in itself. So doing audit of the headquarter is of no use. So the secretarial audit for banks should be for the branch only. But the true interpretation so far is that the circular talks about the audit of a particular bank, not the branch of a bank. So there is ambiguity in the interpretation. Different professionals have different interpretation for this particular task. How to prepare yourself for interview in a listed company? There is no such dilemma in this. All you have to do is to have knowledge of the listed compliance at first. First, try to grab all the listed compliance requirement and the applicability depending upon the structure of the company. So all you have to do is first analyze the structure of the company, working of the company, go on the NSE BSE website, search the company name, and list out the applicability. There could be the scenario where the company has availed exemption in regulation 15.2, whereby the company is not required to file the related party transaction, not required to file the secretarial compliance report in Form 24A. The company is not required to file your corporate governance report. There could be a scenario where the certain number of regulations are not applicable to the company. So analyze the company structure, the applicability, and then get on the knowledge about those regulations and the applicable sections. This would like give you a confidence and a boost to face that interview, since listed interviews are a little difficult. Okay. I'm not able to answer all your questions. I'm really sorry. One second. Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. What is the scope of CS in SME stock exchanges? See, the question is, what is the scope of CS? This is not the question. We company secretaries are the governance professionals. Without us, there would be a difficulty for the companies to adhere to the proper governing norms of the government. So this is not a question to ask that what is the scope of CS in SME stock exchange or a listed company or a government organization. Our scope is not limited to like preparing documents for the company. We are the governance professional, and we have to identify the risks of not adhering to the governing norms. So basically, we are the one who do all the compliances of any particular company, be it a stock exchange company, be it a listed company, or be it a small organization, big organization, whatsoever. So this is not the thing that to ask that what is the scope of a company secretary. The scope is limitless. If you have the capability, there is no limited scope on that. Number of attempts matter or not. See, in a little sense, your knowledge matters. It's not about the number of attempts. No one is asking you, except of you, that in how many attempts you cleared your executive or in how many attempts you cleared your professional. Obviously, AIR, all India rank holders are given preference, but this is not the criteria to judge and should not be the criteria to judge a person on the number of attempts. I have already stated earlier. If a student is going for training having 2 years of practical experience in the field of audit, taxation, annual compliances, etc., how it could be beneficial for him? Obviously, this will benefit you. You will having the basic knowledge, or I would say 2 year experience will have you. You will have the in-depth knowledge of the particular assignment, and you will able to give your output in a better way to the firm or the organization in which you are having your training imparted. That will definitely benefit. Discussion paper on audit of the banks I have already discussed. Which cities are better for training? Metro, non-metro, already discussed. Scope of CN and NCLT discussed. So can a CS be a representative in CCI? Yes, obviously. Yes, a company secretary can be a representative in CCI. There is no bar. Any advice for trainees who are going to join the training? Only one advice: be prepared and before joining any firm or facing any interview, be confident enough and
we updated with the latest amendments. See, in the companies that we are having, on an average, an amendment in every 7 to 8 days. So it's the duty of the trainee to get the complete knowledge. It is not the duty of the trainer who is taking your interview that he should be aware of that. He should be reasonable enough to allow you to not to answer any interview question. It is your responsibility to be updated, get updated about the recent changes, and practically it is not possible to answer all the questions in the trainer can question any of the related to any of the section of the company law, but obviously you can be prepared for the those sections which are used in daily basis, like appointment resignation of directors, the applicability of CSR, how to incorporate company under which section rule it is being operated, scope of audit, section 204 it is for secretarial audit, how auditors are being appointed or resigned or removed. These are the basic sections which a practicing professional may dealing with. So you can definitely try these sections before joining any firm or facing any interview. After becoming CAS, how can we become a chartered secretary in foreign companies? Chartered secretary in foreign companies is our institute is having tie-up MOU with few nations, whereby you are only required to pass the basic 3 or 4 examinations, and you will be awarded the degree of company secretary or chartered secretary in other countries. So by that, you can join a foreign company, unless and until that foreign company has a company incorporated in India. So if that company is having a foreign subsidiary in India, so you can join that company based on the degree of ICSI. But if you want to join in some other country, you have to pursue the CS course of that particular company, and you can also identify that by under which through which MOU ICSI is having engagement with any other institute of company secretaries in the foreign company. So you can identify, and the information you will get through the website icsi.edu. So please explain the hierarchy of courts in company law. See, company law is having in the present scenario only 2 courts, NCLT and NCLAT. The first reference will be made to NCLT, the appeal will be referred to NCLAT, and then further appeal will be referred to Apex Court, that is the Supreme Court. There is no role of High Court, any state High Court in NCLT or company law hierarchy, because NCLT and NCLAT are having equivalent powers of High Court itself. They are having powers to arrest also. So this is the hierarchy: NCLT, NCLAT, and the Apex Court, Supreme Court. How to get a good job as a CS? What matters most? I don't know how to answer this question. How to get a good job? I mean, are we competent enough to judge that a particular job is good or not unless and until we join, or unless and until we get information about that particular job from the past employee? We cannot judge a particular job before joining that unless and until we are having any insider information or any reference of the past employee of that particular company or a firm. So what matters the most is your confidence and your knowledge. Sir, does only a main all over India? See, company secretary is appointed for the company, not for the branches. CSA is being appointed for TCS as a whole, not for a particular branch. Do we get authority to do GST audit? See, this is in pipeline. Our institute has already requested several times to the authorities to insert the name of company secretary to do the GST audit. Right now, there is no authority to company secretary to have undergo GST audit or sign the audit report. But maybe let's hope for the best in days to come. The ministry may accept our request and allow us to do the GST audit also. How to apply training in listed company without any contact? The only way is to shoot an email to the company secretary of that listed company on their designated email IDs and requesting them to impart training. This is the only way. Hierarchy of the company law. It's not available on Google also. How is it possible? I mean, there's a question to explain the hierarchy of courts in company law. I've already explained. If we talk about courts, not ROC or RD, the first court is NCLT, then NCLT, and then Supreme Court. This is the hierarchy of company law courts. Earlier it was a CLB. Now that has been preceded by NCLT. What is the maximum stipend will a trainee get? See, institute has prescribed the minimum stipend, and there is no bar to the maximum stipend. Few MNCs are giving 25,000, few are giving 15,000, few are giving 10, few are giving 8. So it depends upon the MNC, the organization, what they are offering, and definitely it will also depends on your knowledge in the interview scenario. That what are you being offered? So if attempt is in December, can we start training in January before result? Yes, you can start your training. It depends on you that how you want to impart your training. Either you want to get your training imparted after you are qualified finals, or you have qualified the executive program, or you want to indulge into training scenario in between your exam, or whatever the permutation or combination is. It totally depends on you. So can we do training in SEBI or credit rating agencies? Yes, you can do. The thing is, they are allowed to impart training, or are they registered with the to impart training as a company? There is no such criteria of being named as credit rating agency. It has to be a corporate which is registered with the institute to impart training. This is all what is required. Is it okay to ask for the stipend amount? See, honestly speaking, this is a type of offending question because it is you who is required training. So it is not in a good professional behavior to ask for the stipend. Obviously, it is the duty of the trainer to provide you a reasonable stipend so that you can afford your traveling expenditure. But stipend for your general expenses, not it is not a type of salary that we as students are expecting. In my training time, I was getting 2,500 in total of as my stipend. So I never asked my trainer to either increase the stipend, or at the time of my interview, I never asked my trainer to what will be the stipend. My intent was to get training, to get knowledge, to get practical exposure. So this should not be the mindset that what stipend should I be getting. You should ask rather that will I be getting more exposure to the corporate world, rather what quantum of stipend I would be getting. It should not be that question. It's just my view. Your view may be different. What kind of questions may be asked during the interview? See, there is no limit to the type of questions. The interviewer can ask any type of question. The expectation on the interviewer is not limited. He can ask you any type of question. There is no specific question to be asked or prescribed. LLB or MBA, which one is best with CS? See, again, it depends on your career opportunity, whether you want to go into practice or job. So, if you want to go into practice, the only requirement is you have to be a member of ICSI with a certificate of practice in hand. It depends on your job or the requirement of your organization in the whom you will be getting your job, that they require MBA with marketing or MBA with finance or LLB. So it depends, totally depends on the organization. So it depends on you rather to whether you want to have your career in law, or you want to like have a helping hand of finance with MBA finance. I am confused to whether to start my 21 months training or not, because it is almost September and we have our exam in December. I can understand the scenario, but it's again depend on you. I think there is no one in the market or in your nearby who can answer such type of question. It totally depends on your calculations that how and when and in what manner you will manage. If I talk about myself, I imparted my training and attempted all the exam during my training structure itself. I never waited that first I will clear my exams and then I will undergo my training. So it depends on you how you have to manage that. Will you manage or not? It totally depends on you. There are repeated questions now. I think I have answered all the question. Please answer my question also. Divya ji, आपका question क्या है? Can you repeat your question, please? In which cities to go for training? Again, I'm repeating my question. It does not depend whether the city is metro or rural. It depends on the trainer that how good he is to give you the training. It's not about in which city you prefer your training. It can happen that you are residing in Bhopal and there are a lot of practicing professionals in Bhopal or in Indore or in other local cities. So it is not the criteria of selection of city, rather it is the criteria for the selection of a trainer. How good he is. How to join institute to become president, vice president of ICSI? I don't know what kind of question is this. The president and vice president position of ICSI is it's on election based, and it's totally like the general elections of our country, that we members vote to the contestants of the elections, and out of those contestants who get nominated to the council, they decide who will become the president or vice president. This is the case. Okay. Honestly speaking, there are too many questions, and I would not be able to answer each and every question. Rather, I would request Anju ma'am to sum up. Otherwise, there will be endless questions that would be coming.
Sir, there are a few more queries also there. One question is how to get knowledge of website of different regulators.
But there is only one way to get the knowledge is to visit the website of different regulators. I have already highlighted some of the website in the slides, but you can always take help of the Google and identify the website of the regulator. And it is always a good practice to visit the website of a regulator and find out the key things. First section should be to know about the regulator and later on inspect the whole website that what all contents are there, and this is the only way to get knowledge, is to visit the website and get a brief of that.
So there is another question is there, how to get updated about recent development in the corporate laws?
Again, there is only one way to read about the recent developments, and honestly, in today's scenario, the Google groups and WhatsApp groups are so much vibrant and active and aggressive to circulate the recent amendments. Like they don't even take 6 hours. As and when the any update or amendment is there on the website of Ministry of Corporate Affairs or any other regulator, they start circulating that particular amendment through WhatsApp or Google groups or through emailers. So be active on those professional groups, and definitely have a habit of regularly visiting the Ministry of Corporate Affairs website once every day for a while, maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It should be your habit to visit these regulators' website. It will hardly take an hour to visit multiple websites just to get the updation of whether is there any amendment or a recent circular or notification is there or not.
Okay, sir. Another question, last question is there, how the websites of regulators help in the growth of development?
Definitely, these websites will help you in growth and development, because these are the websites that will provide you the insight of the government department, the regulator. These are the websites which will provide you the updates about any latest amendments. These are the websites who will provide you the organizational structure of the government department. So each and every information will be provided to you by the regulator through the website only. So website is the best way of having connection with the government department. So I would again advise each of the participants to regularly visit the most applicable regulators. For example, Ministry of Corporate Affairs for RD, ROC and MCA, LLP updates, RBI website, SEBI website, BSc, NSE websites. You must be having habit of at least spending 5 to 10 minutes to each of the website. This will hardly take 1 hour of your time in a 24-hour day. This is highly advisable to visit. Okay, there is one last question I will be taking up, that are they lenient to executive cleared students in interview for the training as compared to professional cleared students? I would say no, because it's all about the knowledge. But on the other hand, a little leniency will be definitely there, because there is a difference between the contents of professional and executive pass students. There will be certainly a difference in the intellectual of that professional or executive pass student. So there might be a chance that the trainer would be a little lenient to the executive pass student as compared to the professional one, but it should not be the criteria that it is deemed that he will be lenient. It might not be. I think, ma'am, we can sum up.
Yeah. Yes, I think that is all for today, and you have resolved the queries of all students very well. And thank you very much. Wonderful session. Even though we were not able to see you, but you explained with the help of presentation. Thank you very much, sir. And I hope that you all enjoyed the session and gain the knowledge.